What's up guys? Thank you for tuning in to this next video. If you saw last week, we showed our new home, which is a 2022 Outdoors RV 22 FQS. And for the past 10 days, literally the first things we did was paint, do the backsplash, and hook up the new batteries. So this video, we are gonna be showing you those new updates. And really, we're asking the question, is it worth it, or should you have to paint and update your brand new RV?
For us, it's a no-brainer. The space is completely transformed and we are in love with it. And it did require a lot of hours, a little bit of money. We're gonna share how much the time cost, how much the dollars cost, and just like Aaron said, is the trade-off worth it? And for us, it's a hard yes. We picked up the trailer on a Wednesday. We got home late Wednesday night. We did sleep inside of it straight away, but we didn't move any of our belongings in until our painting project was done. I wanted to have a clean, open area without moving things around. So that was a great incentive for us to get painting right away so that we could move in our belongings. So painting was the very first thing we did. Painting project step number 1, wall prep. I've already just started. I'm using a dry Swiffer and basically going over every surface in here, including ledges, things and places where dust can accumulate. And it started with washing the walls, taping everything off, doing a primer base, and then doing a top coat base. We will share a little bit more of that process in a future video. This is just a big general overhead shot of what it involved. The cost for that was about $225 for all of those supplies. We didn't have anything at home to work with, so we were buying everything specifically for this project. And it took me about 40 hours total for all of the painting from prep to finish. And we ended up going with this off-white. It is a gray toned off-white, very close to white, and we think it's beautiful. And that was our very first step in this entire process. It took me about 3 days, 40 hours, a lot of long nights, but the transformation was very vivid just for a paint job. We were lucky to be parked about 2 miles from a Home Depot, which we took advantage of multiple trips there. We got all of our painting supplies there, and I ended up going with a Behr bonding primer. A lot of the suggestions from RV blogs recommend the PPG gripper. However, Home Depot was sold out, and they were very quick to say that the Behr bonding primer is superior. And so I thought that that was a safe alternative, which it turned out to be as of now. And then the top coat was Behr as well. We've picked our final top coat color, which is called Gallery White. Our ceilings are a pure white, so we had all the options in the world, and it took us a lot of time to decide on which shade of white is the right one. It's surprising how difficult it is. They all look the same. Ultimately, it came down to the decision, do we want a warm beige undertone or a cool gray undertone? We went with Gallery White in a satin finish, and we did go with the scuff resistant option for that paint. That was about $9 more than their traditional interior satin, and that was another no-brainer for us just because being in an RV, it's a little bit tighter of a space, so you're gonna be bumping into walls, hitting things with bags inadvertently, and so we did that for an extra layer of protection. Now to talk about the paint lines and the taping, that was the trickiest part because there's so many different substrates in here, so many different things for the tape to stick to. Some of the tape didn't stick very well at all. There were some problem areas that I was concerned about, and it ended up being a valid concern. There are some areas that don't have the cleanest paint lines, and there are other areas that turned out fantastic. So some were a win, some were a loss. Looking back, like, do I wish I would have just free-handed it all? Maybe, but that would have been equally as tedious, and you might have been able to see some mistakes once you start to get tired, because it does start to get to be a long night. As part of our prep process, in addition to the painting, we did take down anything off the walls to make the painting easier. So that included these valances. Now, when we first got the RV, this had side valances on every window except for the 2 kitchen windows. There were heavy wood side valances, and it is a high quality wood. It's a beautiful wood. However, when we took it down and it felt that openness, we really fell in love with just scaling the wood back. Because it is heavy and bulky, it was a little bit dominating to have all of those sides up, and we found removing the sides gives us the nice pop of rich wood, and it looks a little bit more complementary to the white rather than having all that heavy wood. It also allows us more free space so that we can actually lounge without hitting our head, and it just makes the room feel a little bit bigger because they were protruding out a bit. So that was one thing that we kind of called an audible on. Once we had them down and we got a good feel for it, we left them down. Okay, that's the paint. So let's get into the bathroom and I'll show you the backsplash that I did. And we really wanted to use the bathroom as a fun little color pop area. So we picked out this fun teal subway tile. And I started in the bathroom because the subway tile is very straightforward, very easy shape to work with, and there's not a lot of trim pieces in here. There are actually a lot of light plate switches on the wall here, which we did pull down, and that did require the bulk of my trim work. But other than that, it was really straightforward. These peel and stick tiles, they were really easy to work with. I could cut right through them with a scissor, and it was just very simple. I did use an adhesive spray, and I did use a toolkit from Amazon. The toolkit plus the adhesive spray cost about $30 total, and then the backsplash for this area was $65. We had to buy 2 boxes of the backsplash, and we only needed a little bit from the second box, but it was worth it in order to have this full row so that it was a custom fit. And I really, really love it. This backsplash does have like a gel, almost like the old jelly sandals that you used to wear as a kid in the 80s. But it should work really well with the water splashing, and it should be fairly simple to keep clean. You can see here how the brown cabinets and even like the towel holder and the hardware pops off really nice against the white, and it just brings this wood to a whole new level of richness that we really, really like. The color of the teal actually really draws out a lot of green color from the shower glass, and it looks very spa-like in here. I did pick out some fluffy towels. We've been using these sham towels for years because of the van, so just adding extra touches of some spa luxury feel and getting the color pop from the glass, actually having a nice shower. You know, the sunlight really pulls in a lot of the colors and brings the colors through, and we're super happy with it. Now, the tile in here took about 7-8 hours to complete, which was a breeze. It was much, much easier than the more complicated tile in the kitchen, which we'll show you next. So the tile in the kitchen, we absolutely love it. We had a lot of options that we did like for the kitchen. We ended up picking this gray chevron. It almost looks like a birch wood, and it plays very well against the wood grains of the table. And this was a little bit more complicated of a pattern. It did not come in square shapes. It came in like W shapes for the chevron. And this tile was about twice as expensive. It was $125 for 2 boxes. And again, we didn't need all of the second box, but we needed it to complete the job. It was much harder to cut. You can't cut it with the scissors. It was the score and snap style, which, because of a lot of the rounded cuts, you can't just use a ruler and score it really hard. There was like a million little tiny cuts that killed my neck and my fingers, and it took 30 hours to do this job between 3 days. By the time I was finished with this backsplash, I didn't want to see another backsplash again. But once you step back and you look at it, you get that great feeling of accomplishment, and this really is a wow piece for our kitchen. While these backsplash projects appear to be fully complete, there is one step left that I need to do today, which is caulking of the trim areas. We just need to seal in the lines and seal in some of the edges on both of the backsplashes. And also there are some touch-up areas for the paint that need that same caulking as well. There are a couple spots against the countertops where there was clear silicone and the paint did not adhere to that. Now we expected that going into the project, so we are not surprised and we are not devastated. It's just one more step that we need to blend those in. And we could have tried to identify those areas before painting and caulked it first. However, I felt that this way we can see exactly what we need to do and you can shorten the amount of work that you do, because if you were just to guess, you would overguess and you would likely be doing more work than you need to. So this way you can see exactly the areas that need a little bit of TLC and we will address those next. And overall, you can get a good sense on how much more of a residential feeling you get just by changing up the colors. The backsplash, we got rid of this nasty glass backsplash that came in it. We did also remove this plaque that was up here. I know when we did the first walkthrough, we were a little bit unsure of how that would remove, and it ended up removing fairly well. There's a couple of nail marks that really don't bother me at all. I'd much rather have it this way than the other way. So let's jump over to Aaron and have him show that magic that he put under the bed.
I am really pleased with how the paint and the backsplash turned out. Chris worked really hard on that. I only helped a little bit with starting to take down the valances and some of the outlets and things like that on the walls. But after that, Chris did every single thing herself, including the taping, the painting, and all of the backsplash. So that was a ridiculous amount of work. But while she was doing that, I was doing the electrical underneath the bed. I do want to mention again that we are brand partners with Battleborn Batteries as we talk about this, just to let everybody know. And we are extremely proud to have this type of system from them. I'm breaking up the system into 3 parts. One is the DC system, which you see here. The second part will be the inverter, which I don't have done yet. And then the third part will also be the solar, which we're still kind of deciding, do we want to go flexible panels or do we want to go rigid mount? The big thing is I would prefer not to drill a bunch of holes inside our brand new roof, and that's why I would go the flexible route, but I know the rigid is longer lasting and a little bit better performing. But onto this DC system, we talked about it a little bit. This is 3 Battleborn game changers. These are 270 amp hours a piece, for a total of 810 amp hours. So this is one giant system. And it took me about 3 days to put this in. It was really nice to work with this. I do have a full video that will be coming out. Hello.
Aaron's battery install, the first full day. Yesterday was like a big prep day for you, right?
It was like a prep day and also getting the batteries in. So just kind of like getting that base level, because you have an idea in your head how it's gonna all fit in there and sizes, and you can do all this planning, but until you actually get like the parts and start piecing it together and really visualizing it, then you don't know. So, but you're able to remove these struts, this bed, we put the mattress on top of the table, and then we were able to flip this wood piece over. So I had full working range on this, which was great. And the 12-volt system is pretty simple. Really, it goes, these 3 batteries are connected in parallel to make one big bank, like I mentioned. Off the positive side, we have the large 400 amp fuse, the master switch, and then the positive bus bar. And then on the negative side over here, it goes right to a smart shunt and then to the negative bus bar. And that smart shunt allows us to look on our phone Bluetooth and see exactly how much power is being drawn out of this and what the rating is. And then once I hooked up this system, all I had to do was remove the DC cables from the battery on the tongue that came with it and connect them to our positive and negative bus bars, and that was it. And then the entire RV is powered by these 810 amp hours of Battleborn batteries. These batteries are massive. They are about 22 inches long by 13 inches wide by about 7 inches tall. I reinforced the bed underneath with 1x12s, and then these things weigh about 80 pounds a piece. So it is kind of a lot of weight, but this is equivalent to 8 single 100 amp hour batteries. So hooking up 8 batteries together is a lot more work. I really love the form factor of these new batteries, and they really did work out pretty good. These are able to be mounted really in any direction, standing up or sideways, like kind of how I have them. I used big 4-aught battery cable, and the system went together, like I said, in about 3 days. Pretty simple. There wasn't a whole lot to it. They have mounting feet that screw the batteries down, so I don't have to use like the ratcheting system that a lot of people use and I had to use in the van before. The feet just screw right down into that 1x12. So on the next step of the inverter, I'm going to put that in the pass-through outside storage, which is actually on the other side of this wall. So I'll mount that, drill a 1.5 inch hole where I can then connect the DC cables here, and then the AC cables need to get connected to our original distribution panel, which is on the other side of the coach here. So I do have to run that up underneath the frame and over. So it's gonna be a bit of a little project, but we're really excited. Right now we're only charging these things off our 90 watt Zamp portable panel that we were borrowing from our good friends Jeff and Deb, and honestly that's working out pretty good right now. But we're really excited to get these next 2 stages done for this system. All right, that's gonna do it for our quick little update tour. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. We've been working so hard on this, and we just had a big double 2-day travel day. So we really haven't had time to do our regular videos or even process all that we've been recording on these upgrades. So let us know what you think about our update. And if you would ever paint your RV, if you think it's worth it, I don't know. That's definitely a personal decision, but for us, we absolutely love it. And I can't even remember what the brown was like. It already feels like home. I love how the white walls now complement the nice brown cabinetry as opposed to it muddling all together with 50 shades of brown. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video. So thanks so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is my wife, Christine. Oh, I said Christine. So thanks so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is Chris. So thanks so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is my wife, Chris. Who's Irene? And we'll catch you on the next video.
Nailed it. I think that went well.